Hello and welcome to Coffee with Kirti. I'm so excited today because I have somebody very, very special. Um, he is closely working with farmers for more than 25 years. And he, being an engineer, he's done a lot of great work. And not only him, his father and his grandfather, they've done fantastic work. They've put in a lot of hard work, sweat to help farmers across Maharashtra, across India, to even to to the extent of helping farmers around the globe. So we have today with us Mr. Sagar Padgilwar. He's the director of Padgilwar Corporation. I'm really excited, Sagar sir. Thank you for coming to Coffee with Kirti. How are you doing today?
Fine, fine. Thank you for inviting me also.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I know I was going through the whole history of Padgilwar Corporation. I saw a lot of these black and white pictures, and and you guys have been in business for more than 5 decades, right? And empowering farmers is at the core of your, that's the vision mission of Padgilwar Corporation, right? So if you could, tell my audience about a little bit of history of how it all started, where it all started, and what was that, point where your grandfather, Mr. Bala Sahib Patil sir, started the company. If you could tell us about that.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to start with my grandfather, Shri Bala Sahib Padkilwar. He was basically a businessman in Yavatmal district in Maharashtra.
Okay.
And with business, he had a business of trading garments and
Okay.
clothes at that time. And simultaneously, he had a very big land bank at that time of
Okay.
his forefathers he inherited. And
Okay.
that time he started showing interest in farming also just after 3-4 years of independence. So simultaneously handling business and farming, that was basically the setup of every well-to-do family in Maharashtra at that time.
Right.
So we
Right.
also had a very big chunk of land holding
Very
in
nice.
Digras, basically
Okay.
where we come from,
Okay.
Yavatmal district in Digras.
Okay.
And while he is doing of this farming, he experienced a lot of difficulties for various kind of equipments which he could not find at that particular time, because all the developments in that particular time were basically imported ones. We could have tractors and all tractor operated implements at that time. And small farmers, those people or those farmers who had a land holding of 2.5 acres to 5 acres, they didn't had any kind of specialized equipments for that kind of a scale of farm. And that is where my grandfather saw the difficulty. And that was the point where he started looking for manufacturing of small equipments which could be helpful for this quality and strata of farmers.
Okay.
And the 2.5 acre of land holding is maximum right now, even in our country right now.
Correct.
80% of the farmers in our country have a land holding of approximately 1 hectare or 2.5.
Correct.
So he started with a small equipment, which was the first equipment which we manufactured in his farm. He started a shed there in his own farm.
Okay.
He started manufacturing a wooden perni. He called it the Chincholi Perni Yantra. It was a plowing machine, seed
Okay.
plowing machine,
Okay.
when basically it was put behind the bullock cart, and there were two entries. One had a seed inlet, another had the fertilizer inlet. So simultaneously the farmer could do it, which was basically being done manually, and that particular equipment saved a lot of labor and labor and time of farmers at that time. So that innovation immediately got attention of all the farmers across, small farmers across the state, and from there across the country also. There were such kind of designs in other states also, but at least for this part of the region of Maharashtra where he was, he could immediately become a person to be recognized, and all the farmers started inquiring about this particular product, and then the demand for Chincholi Perni Yantra started. And from there, it was from there by 1955 that he started seriously thinking about manufacturing and making new products for small farmers.
Oh,
So
wow,
that was the
wow,
reason.
wow, wow. It's a fantastic story actually, and I want to understand of, right from Perni Yantra to what has been the journey until now. What kind of equipment do you guys manufacture now, and what is the whole story is what I want to understand. But at the same time, now you are the one who's spearheading the corporation, right? And I would like to first, before we talk more about other things, I would like to know more about your involvement in the business. When did you start? What was and when you were doing your engineering, where you told that you are going to be taking over the family business. Of course, you must be having siblings and all of them helping you with the business. But how did it start for you, and what has been the journey so far? You've been in this business for 25 years yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
so tell me about your involvement with
Uh,
Padgilwar
actually,
Corporation.
uh, my group Padgilwar, which was started by my grandfather Shri Balasaheb Padgilwar, but he had his two younger brothers also together with
Uh-huh.
him. Mr. Gokul Shet Padgilwar and Narayan Shet Padgilwar were two younger brothers who accompanied him in this particular group and his entire journey of
Okay.
Uh, Padgilwar group, you can say,
Okay.
overall. And
Okay.
then he basically involved uh, all those two brothers also together in this group, gave them
Mhm.
individual sections. Uh,
Mhm.
we my grandfather, my father and my uncle, they were basically given a charge of manufacturing sprayers and some other equipments. We were
Mhm.
manufacturing HDP pipes at that time for farmers
Mhm.
for
Okay.
irrigation.
Okay.
Then we started into a lot of other products also.
Okay.
We started into sprayers marketing, distribution. Then we
Mhm.
started into post harvest. We started manufacturing threshers. That was
Okay.
given to one of my grandfather's younger brother,
Mhm.
Shri Narayan Padgilwar, and one and his younger brother Gokul Shet Padgilwar also was involved.
Mhm.
So he was also given charge of manufacturing threshers.
Mhm.
His son Shri Jayant Padgilwar and Shrikant Padgilwar were also engineers. They came after their engineering. They also joined the group. My father also joined the group. He was charge of marketing. And my father has three sons, so we three brothers also together.
Oh,
Me, my
wow.
brother Akash Padgilwar, and my youngest brother Parag Padgilwar. We are together working for Padgilwar Corporation. So we have group of companies together in Padgilwar
Wow.
Group, and
Wow.
I am looking after the marketing side of the Padgilwar Group for
Okay.
Padgilwar Corporation, you can say.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
this is how we are basically from last 50, 55 years, you can say.
Right.
We have developed more than 400 plus innovations for small farmers. And
Wow.
so we are still doing these because this is an endless process. We
Mhm.
don't believe in everything manufactured by in-house or something like that. If
Correct.
we find out a technology which is best in some other country, we import it, design it according to our specifications, brand it under our own brand, and also sell. So that is not a question. The thing is, the only core point which our group works on is affordable farm mechanization,
Oh, wow.
giving
Wow.
affordable farm mechanization to small farmers. You just
Correct.
cannot say that this is a technology, a drone you are showing to a farmer. That drone is going to spray on your fields, and
Hmm.
that cost of that particular drone is 10 lakh rupees, which is not
Yes.
affordable. You are
Of course.
showing a technology, but
Of
it's not
course.
affordable.
Of course.
So
Of course.
instead of that, when a farmer is using an hand operated sprayer, his
Hmm.
entire body ache is there for the entire day because he's just pulling this sprayer. and
Correct.
simultaneously, on the other hand, he has to target the pest where
Correct.
is on the crop. So
Correct.
simultaneously, it's a very fatigue thing. So when we 15 years back, when we introduced a battery operated sprayer, that was
Hmm.
an innovation which was like a boom,
Oh, wow. Wow.
because it was a revolution in spraying technology all over the country. We were
Okay.
the first to introduce this battery operated sprayer from a
Wow.
Chinese company. We introduced it, we developed it according to our specification, and we made a heavy duty battery. We got it
Okay.
certified by the Government of India Agriculture Department, and
Okay.
then the Government of India gave it to on subsidy to farmers. And from there, when this 5,000 farmers used our sprayers free of cost, then the other farmers who basically were seeing all this technology were interested in this. And then this started a revolution ki, without even a single physical effort, you could
Hmm.
spray easily in your entire farm.
Wow.
And the
Wow.
whole country, all over the world, all over the country, India, battery sprayer is a new thing. Like, no, now
Wow.
people have stopped using hand operated sprayers.
Wow.
These kind of small equipments we have tried to introduce in our club, in our
Very nice.
group. That is how it is. There are so many innovations which can discuss. It will take
Very
a
nice.
lot of questions for you, but still we
Yes,
can
yes,
cover
yes, yes.
whatever we can, right?
No, definitely, definitely. So I think, you being born in the family of entrepreneurs, especially in the agriculture sector, right? And doing so much work, so much innovations. I really like the battery operated sprayer that you talked about, because it is something that is not, I think it's not too very expensive. At the same time, it solves the on the ground
Problem.
problem, right? That is very, very
Yeah.
important. It is affordable. So your line of work, your Patkilwar Corporation believes in making sure that the farmer,
Innovation,
yes,
and
affordability,
affordable
right?
farm
Yes,
technology,
affordable
affordability.
farm
It
equipment.
was like the battery operated sprayer was a medium. Like, you had either you had a hand operated sprayer or either you had a petrol engine operated sprayer. The
Right,
problem with hand operated sprayer was that you cannot spray it continuously for in if you have a 5 acre land.
correct,
But so if you have a 5 acre land, then you go for a petrol operated sprayer.
correct.
The petrol operated engine used to take 2 liters of daily petrol, plus
Yeah,
the throw of the pesticide was so that 90% of the pesticide which was sprayed on the farm, on the crop, used to come down, and 90% is wasted. So
correct,
we needed
correct.
to add something in between which
Right.
saves to 100 rupees liter petrol
That's
cost, and
yeah,
not even the labor, the
correct,
fatigue of operating an HAP product. So we
correct,
introduced this particular, and it was an innovation which was accepted immediately by the farmers. Like,
correct.
a hand operated sprayer at that time when we introduced it was something around 1,000 rupees, and a petrol operated was 5,000, and we introduced a product for 3,600 battery operated. It saved everyone's money,
Correct,
and
correct.
it was an innovation immediately accepted, affordable.
Wow, wow.
Affordable farm mechanization, that
That's
is the most important thing.
very, very interesting. Very interesting. And sir, I see farmers suffering in rural areas. The affordability angle. I'm talking about that, right? Because the farm equipments are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Marginal farmers cannot afford it, and bigger corporations, they think that it's easier to, they're only sell, sell, sell. So for you at Badcorp, you guys also have worked on the rice mill, right? Tell me about that. Tell me
Mhm.
about rice mill, and how is it, both? How is it an innovation, and how is it an affordable innovation? Is what I want to know.
Uh, I will tell you roughly from last 15 years back,
Mm-hmm.
we were very closely working with the KVK, Krushi Vigyan Kendra
Kendra.
Nandurbar.
Okay.
And while discussing this with the scientists there at Krushi Vigyan Kendra Nandurbar, they had approached us to develop a small rice mill, which could be run by a single phase line in a village which is deep inside, where even 5 HP or 3 phase line is not available
Oh, wow.
all of the time. So, and they had seen this particular gap where the farmers, the rural farmers, the Adivasi farmers, they had stopped farming rice because
Okay.
the reason which came out was the cost of procuring rice from a ration shop is so less than the cost of growing your own rice.
Okay.
So that was so high. And then they studied this difference, why it is so. So they said that the rice which they used to produce in their fields, when they sent it to the milling center, like rice mill, the rice mill owner used to take away the husk, because the husk is basically sold by the rice mill owner to oil mills or some other reasons. And they used to get only some quantity of rice, because some quantity of rice used to be blown, sucked away in their heavy machinery. A rice mill plant is a 25 lakh setup wherein you have to first clean it, grade it, then it comes into the milling station. Then the 3 grades of rice have 3 different sections, and the husk is thrown away. So it's a huge setup. And when the farmer takes his 10 bags of paddy to the rice mill owner, he only gets 40-50% of his rice back. So the cost of all this was, and the cost of getting free rice from the ration mill was so easy for the farmers that they started decreased the production, farming of rice, producing of rice in that particular area. And then we found out that if a cheaper solution of a small rice mill is produced, then it can be done. And we had a proper discussion. We imported some machines. We saw some foreign machines. We imported some designs, and then tried to inculcate the same process of rice milling in one single machine, which could be run on 2 HP single phase motor, which can be run in a household in a place like Nandurbar, Adivasi area. And then the machine was successful. After 2 years of successful research on that, we sent it to the Department of Agriculture Testing Laboratory, got it certified from them, got a certificate that this is really ideally suitable for farmers to use. And then when we gave our first set of 10 machines to this Adivasi area, and then from this KVK, they gave this machine to Adivasi ladies on monthly annual charges of 500 rupees rent.
Oh, wow.
They just wanted to do this example of whether this household ladies could really use this rice mill. So when they gave this rice mill to this Adivasi ladies for 500 rupees per annum, after the outcome of 3 years, they could find out that every household lady was basically earning around 1.5 lakh rupees from that particular rice mill.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And this was not our study. This was not the KVK study. It was basically a study from a committee in Delhi which came to KVK Nandurbar on their recommendation. They personally went and saw the rice mills there with the ladies who were using. One of the lady article was covered in daily newspaper in Maharashtra, which is Agro One, which is a farming newspaper which comes daily, every day. So when Agro One covered their article of this particular lady in Nandurbar, Tanujatai Gavit, then the entire community knew that yes, a small rice mill can really change, the small innovation can really change the lifestyle of that particular lady. She was able to earn this much amount of money, and she started bringing some value-added products, also marketing. She built her own brand, and then she packaged that product in 5 kgs and then sold in the nearest exhibitions, so self-help group exhibitions. So the entire manufacturing to branding to packaging and selling it to the customers, this entire cycle which a farmer should do was done by her, and that is how she earned. So this was recorded and this was studied, and then it started. Then the revolution started from 2011. We have more than 1,500 installations all
Oh,
across
wow.
Maharashtra, successful
Fantastic.
installations,
Fantastic.
and they're doing fine. So
Fantastic.
this is a kind of revolution which is basically needed,
Right.
because here you are basically cutting a 25 lakh rupees of rice mill to a 50,000 rupees of rice mill, which is also funded by the government of India on subsidy basis. So the owner gets this rice mill at, say, if it is an Adivasi area, they get it at 90% subsidy.
Oh, wow.
So it's
Wow.
a barely 5,000 rupees if the farmer is giving. He gets this machine and he starts
Wow.
living his own, earning his own livelihood. Now, this is
Fantastic.
a kind of technologies which needs to be sent to the base level of the farming. If this does not happen, then you cannot say that you are going to double the farming income by, say, what is the government's role. You need to spread these kind of affordable farm technologies to farmers. So that's very
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. Making farmers self-reliable, self-sufficient of things that because farmer is far more intelligent than us. This is what I believe. He knows his
Yeah.
soil, he knows he or she, including women farmers, right? They know how to do everything. But I don't want to get into a debate here about why the middleman is involved in all of that. We will not talk about it. But staying on the subject here, sir, I want to know because farm equipments are very complicated, right? You talk
Yeah.
about a rice mill; it's a mobile rice mill, right? And even ladies, even women can operate. How different is Padcorp rice mill, in terms of operating it? How easy it is? Because we are talking about women farmers here, and we're talking about machinery here, right? How is it easy? Because they are complicated machines, but how is
We
rice mill
while designing this machine, we basically had targeted women entrepreneurs and women
Okay,
farmers.
okay,
We have a study which says that 60 to 70% of the farm labor is basically done by women only, women
okay.
itself. Like whatever is the hard work which is done in the fields is basically done by women.
Correct.
Let it be removing of the weeds manually, let it be cutting of the crops also, harvesting, whatever is done. 70%, like, even if spraying is there, throwing fertilizers, we have studied that this is where the hard work comes. So a rural household lady is basically the heart of farming of this country. So
Hmm.
70% of the work she does. And
Correct.
if we can think about reducing her drudgery, her labor, to reduce that and make her more efficient in a way, we targeted that particular lady, that woman, household woman, uh, she inside the rural area.
Correct.
And we made this particular machine, the way like we have our floor mills in our
Mhm.
houses, also the
Correct.
small 2 HP
Correct.
single phase floor mills also there. The same is the machine. It's a very simple machine. You just have to put the paddy from upside and put on the button, and the paddy, the cleaned rice comes from one side. You get the husk, which is milled, is comes from the another side, and the what do you call, half broken rice. We have
Mhm.
another outlet of that in the same machine. So
Okay.
you have a clean rice, half broken rice, and the husk, which basically comes in the
Okay.
same single machine, and it is
Okay.
very simple.
Very
You can
nice.
just operate. Yeah, it is very simple machine.
And
So
what happens to the straw or the hay after the rice is separated from it? What
the
happens?
the the hay which comes out, the husk which comes out after milling, basically
Mhm.
becomes a powder in
Mhm.
this particular machine, which is not the case when you mill it in a big rice mill,
Mhm.
because the husk which comes out from a big rice mill is very pointed, so it
Mhm.
cannot be given to as an animal feed to
Mhm.
but it can be used by oil mills for
Mhm.
burning it in oil, making it. You know, as you knowing rice bran oil.
Right. Rice
So
bran
the
oil.
rice bran oil is basically out of the husk, which comes from a big rice mill. And
Okay.
this particular machine, it basically entirely becomes a powder. And this
Okay.
powder is is also with the proteins of the rice
Okay.
bran.
Okay.
So this powder is protein powder which can be used as a cattle feed and
Okay.
it can also be given as a poultry feed.
Oh,
So
wow.
what these ladies used to do is they used to sell this particular husk, powder husk, for
Mhm.
5 rupees a kg
Oh,
to
wow.
all the poultry owners.
Oh, very nice.
So for a poultry owner, it was a benefit
Mhm.
because he had to feed his chicks in the poultry, which
Mhm.
was the cost of that particular feed was 25 rupees a kg. And
Okay.
here he was getting a protein poultry feed at 5
Mhm.
rupees a kg.
Oh,
So he used to give advance.
oh, okay.
The
Okay.
poultry owners used to give advance to her. Ki,
Very
this is my
interesting.
advance, and whenever you are basically removing the husk, please give it to me. That is how she
Very
was
nice.
earning out of that.
Very interesting.
So
It's a
that
new stream of income for them, right? Because
yeah,
earlier they were
it
missing
is
out
like
on that.
yeah. So this happens. She is going forward by making branding her own rice.
Correct.
Backward, she is making another product. Either
Correct.
she sells it as a poultry feed, or she
Correct.
directly sells it out. And if tomorrow she is interested in making her own pallets,
Right.
there is a small machine which we have developed that is a pallet making machine for
Okay.
5 HP. She
Okay.
can put the whole husk in that and again
Okay.
mix some other jawar, bajra, whatever corns
Okay.
she has in her house and then make a proper pallet, which
Okay.
basically can be given to cattle also. So
Okay.
a cattle feed also she can make. So
Okay.
reverse, forward integration, backward integration at the ground level, at the village level. That is what this technology is going to. That kind of technologies, if we go on adding, it is going
Right.
to change the entire
Very
farming
nice.
scenario. Because
Very nice.
what we feel is the
Mhm.
farmers should not sell their produce directly
Mhm.
to in the stage which they are making. If they are
Correct.
making rice, if they are making rice, they should not sell the paddy to the rice mill owner.
Correct.
they should they should do one kind of a value addition to the crop,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
from paddy to rice. If she is making paddy to rice, that's a huge value addition of 10
Correct.
to 15 rupees a kg, and
Absolutely.
that is where the margin lies. If that is
Absolutely.
given away to the middlemen, then the farmer is not going to earn anything. And this
Absolutely.
is how we think about
Absolutely. I think it's a revolutionary product that you have and equipment. And talking about that, Satsi, now power consumption or power supply in the rural areas is something very it's painful, honestly speaking.
it.
Right
Yeah.
now, also even today, for that matter. So, what are the power requirements for this rice mill that you have, and even
See,
pellet
the
machine? So, is there
it is
high
actually
electricity?
designed uh, it is actually designed with 2 HP single phase motor.
Okay,
So you have the regular line which you can receive in the rural areas. In that particular line it operates, so
right.
you don't need an extra say any kind of a generator or extra load for this particular machine.
Okay,
Plus they are designed to sustain the high and low uh, power voltage fluctuations in
okay,
rural areas. So
okay,
accordingly, we have put the equipment in such a way that even if it is very low pressure, very low power, the machine will immediately trip. If the
okay,
power is proper in, then the machine will start. So
okay,
the proper care
okay,
has been taken to make the machine that way.
okay. Very nice, very nice. So, talking more about, I know I want to talk more about this rice mill. So, tell me, do you have any interesting story or a case study related to this mobile rice mill and how it proved to be economical, solution to the farmers? Any case study? I think you already told us about some Thai you think about that about lady, right? So, do you have any other interesting story to talk about
Yeah,
rice
there are many, there are
mill?
many stories, because after this we have more than 1,000 installations all across the
Okay,
state, and there are so many other states also which we done.
okay,
We came across very interesting stories of ladies forming groups for this particular machine. They
mhm,
have made a self-help group
okay,
in Maharashtra,
okay.
and they have created their own brand of organic rice.
Oh, wow.
Some ladies basically had the organic. They produced organic rice. They milled it in their own this machine, and they branded this particular entire organic rice with a proper bag, and they used to come and sell in this. In Pune, we have this exhibition which is conducted for all the self-help groups
Okay.
in all over the Maharashtra. So they receive a proper stall, and then all the people from Pune basically come to this exhibition.
It's called
And it's
Bachat
a
Ghar
huge
or
exhibition.
something. Bachat Ghar or
Yeah,
something.
no, Bhimtadi Jatra.
Okay, okay.
So this is exhibition which is basically conducted by the Pawar Group, Pawar family,
Okay.
Baramati Trust.
Okay.
And they do this exhibition from say more than 10-15 years. They are doing this, and it is a wonderful exhibition to display all the self-help group products from Maharashtra all across the state, and they do crores of business in this 10 days or 5 days of exhibition in Pune. And these individual farmers, when they come with their own brand, sell it. The Pune people, they are basically going for brown rice. They are selling this rice for 80 rupees a kg. Yeah.
Wow.
So the rice which they used to eat in their villages for their daily consumption now is a product of in much demand in cities like Pune, Bombay, and the value addition which they got was tremendous. Some people, some Bachat Ghats have earned more than 1 lakh of rupees in 1 5-day exhibition which I have. So that is how it has to be done.
Yes, yes. And you know, sir, it makes me really happy when I hear that farmers are making good money and good margins on whatever they're producing, because that is something that is really really important in terms of marketing the produce that they have really produced on their farms.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense. Now, tell me about the equipments. Are these equipments easily available to the farmers? Where are your current distributors and wholesalers? How is it that the farmers can access these equipments?
Actually, we have a very good distribution and marketing network of our products all over the state and across the country. I have more than 1,200 direct and indirect dealers, distributors. So my products are available all over the state. Farmers know my brand properly because we are there in the market from last 60 years. And we go on introducing innovative range every year. We have our own website, we have our social media network, we have our social media page, YouTube channel. Now people are very, very, very much aware about the farming community, the farmers, even the small kids in villages, they are aware about all the technologies. Because of 4G, Reliance and all, you can sit in your farm and then basically think about any product you want and just put it in the search, or you can see a video. So that way, we have more than 100 videos of our products. They describe the entire product, how it works, operates a video, give them a technical description. So just they are aware about what the product is, what is it is going to do, how it is going to operate, everything. They just need to go to the nearest dealer and ask for the product, and they get it. So after sales service and selling has been already, because of the network, we are doing it. Plus, we usually market our products in the news channels also. The advertisements are there. We do it on magazines. We do it in social media. Everything is covered. So
very nice. Very nice.
So
and you have a program also, right, where you do this rentals of equipment. I think it's to do with some card, farmer card or something. So can you elaborate on that?
2000. This was a project. This was a project we started in 2016 with one of my partner, Mr. Rajesh Mahmedwar. We together had a place in Yavatmal district where maximum number of farmers were committing suicides. Yavatmal is the district which is basically prone for a lot of farmer suicide, and then there are so many studies which had been done in Yavatmal for why exactly that farmers are committing suicide in this particular side of the country. So some studies, we also started our own studies, and then we found out that there were so many equipments which were not available to farmers on the time they required it the most.
Okay.
And that is where they could not produce the quantity of cotton they could basically grow. So we found out uh, there were so many places where lack of mechanization and available resources of machines was not there, and that was a reason that they could not come up to the target of that production of cotton per acre they want. And the then we started an experiment. We had this experiment in Deni near Babulgaon, Yavatmal. We started this machine bank where we kept around 25 lakh rupees of equipments, which we had studied were basically the need of the farmers. We put manual sprayers, battery operated, petrol operated sprayers, threshers, cutters, brush cutters, diesel engines, sprinkler sets, everything was there. So in this particular area where we were targeting only area of say 1,000 acres and 500 farmers. So we made 500 farmers as the member of this particular bank. And then we asked only 300 rupees as an annual fee to be the part of this machine bank. We gave them a digital card. We took all their data. We took their farm data. We took their ration cards. We took their a PAN card, Aadhaar card, everything. And then we gave them this digital card, which would enable them to rent out anything from that particular bank for a day, and then they pay it per day. Like if it is a battery operated sprayer, they don't need to buy 3,500 rupees of sprayer. They just give me 40 rupees of rent, use it for 1 day or 2 days, come back, give it 80 rupees, give me 80 rupees, give the sprayer and go back. And then again come for another equipment they want. And this is how we had this experiment for 2 years. And actually we found out that we collected a farm rent of 5 lakh rupees per year. The second year we collected 7 lakh rupees.
Wow. Wow.
From only the equipment which we kept, which were of worth somewhere around 25 lakh. Wow. So we basically knew that the problem was not the output or hard work or anything. The problem were that the farmer, if requires a sprayer today, if he gets it by anyhow, he can save his crop. Correct. That is very important.
Correct.
And if it is available to him. So we had this study. The government also had this study. Government of India is also after this mission of community custom hiring center, but it has to be done. It has to be done in the way that the farmers know that there is some kind of a custom hiring center here. So we make it properly. We distributed leaflets to the nearby farmers that there is a bank called Kisan Machine Bank. You can come here, see all the equipments, rent it out accordingly, and use it. Wow. So we found that if resources are available, farmers are ready to spend, farmers are ready to work, and they are ready to work hard and to save their crops at anyhow. So that was a very good experiment. We are planning to make this pan-India. We are working with some NGOs also, so that we introduce it in various locations. Some for 5 or 6 pilot projects we can do it. And then we can make it a mass movement to scale it up all across the state. And these kind of machine banks are important. The need of the hour is machine banks.
I think
have to rent out.
It's fantastic, sir. It's fantastic. Why? Because the farmer is getting at a very, very affordable price, which is at 40 to 80 rupees, is what he's paying. For the whole day. He's not spending a huge amount of 3,000 to 4,000 rupees, which is a big saving for him. And he's getting it at the time he wants it. He doesn't have to be dependent on any landlord, right? The zamindars, landlords, and all of that thing is gone.
We had also kept threshers worth 2.5 lakh rupees. And this one thresher, basically, once your entire crop is there and you want to harvest it, and if you cannot harvest it in a time when there is only one tractor operator and one thresher operator in the village, and you need to run after him to come to your field. Please come to my field. And in that time, in this time, if there is a after shower which comes in his field,
Correct.
so all his crop
All
is
his crop is gone. Correct,
soaked,
correct.
and it gets destroyed. So threshing, post harvesting also needs to be done in that particular time, and we kept only 1,500 rupees a day as a rental for that machine, which was worth 2.5 lakh rupees. So all the members, we gave the privilege only to the members, so that the members can accordingly utilize the machines, book accordingly, and then they can use it. So it was a great experience. Lots of farmers could save a lot of money. They basically also earned extra 30 to 40% of their farm income from the previous year. So we saw that this kind of things, these kind of banks are going to revolutionize. We don't need to give loans to farmers to buy equipments. We need to introduce these kind of banks so that the farmer, when he requires, come to the bank, rents it out, uses, and returns it back. That's it. So banks like these are important.
Very nice. I think it's awesome. I'm loving this interaction actually with you, because all the positive things for a farmer is what is being done at Padcorp, which is really, really important. You're empowering them, you're helping them with rentals, you're making sure I think what I really love until now that you've talked about, you're trying to help the women entrepreneurs, women farmers. Like that's a really good thing. You are trying to also see that there is, if you can minimize the number of suicides by farmers, right? We are nobody, but as a human being, I feel that, right? It's very important that farmers live their entire life and their families are happy also. So, and to that fact, I think you guys have done a lot of work, not just in India, right? You have represented India at various international expos, right? Tell us about that. Tell us about the expos that you have, international expos that you have gone to, and you have. What has been the experience, and how is the international farming community accepting Padcorp in a way where good things are happening for the farming community across the globe?
Actually, one of my sister concerns, Patson Industries and JS Corporation, they both are now being run under the same group, but under the name, and they are looked after by my uncle, who is Mr. Shrikant Padgilwar and Jayant Padgilwar. They manufacture seed cleaning processing machineries. They have been exhibiting all our seed cleaning or grading machines all in various exhibitions outside country also, and then exported these machines to a lot of government agencies also. Some of our seed grading machines have been sent to Mauritius government for the wheat and all the grains they import from other countries. Instead of getting it cleaned, they wanted that the price difference of a cleaned and an unclean grain is too high. So they had a global tender. Then we supplied our machines of grading machines there, and they used it. They are using it. A lot of seed companies also using our machines, wherein they are producing commercial seeds out of machines which we have manufactured at Akola under the brand name of Patson Industries. And we have exported a lot of post-harvest machines like threshers to various countries through merchant exporters all across the state. Even in Bombay, there are some merchant exporters, and through them, we have sent our machines to South African countries and a lot of other countries where farmers are also requiring these kind of heavy quality equipments and machineries. In the last 40, 50 years of our existence, we have done a lot of exports also, and we are still doing it. And wherever we find that there is a need of affordable farm equipment, and if they find out that they need a proper quality manufacturer, we still have a name there, and we basically get our customers from there also. The orders also are there. Even my rice mills have been exported to various countries. Recently, we exported to Nigeria.
Okay. So I think Africa is also very much agrarian country, and I think a lot of your equipment are going there. So talking about
Yes.
international scene, how is the agriculture structure and process different in India as compared to other
It is
countries?
very, very different. You just cannot compare American farming conditions or German farming conditions or some Australian farming conditions, because there the land size is huge. They are 500,000 acres of lands, and all the equipments are so huge that one particular harvester is enough. Like there's one particular John Deere equipment can
Mhm.
basically serve 1,000 acres of land, right
Okay.
from sowing, fertilizing, spraying, post harvesting, and everything, like right from the land preparation to post harvest. Everything is done through one particular single huge equipment, and that is not the case in our country,
Correct,
because
correct,
we have a very, very less land holding, and that is why the government is also promoting farm FPOs, farmer producer organizations,
organization.
wherein
Correct,
say around 500 farmers come together of 2 acres, 2.5 acres. They make a bank of 1,000 acre accordingly. They can buy a huge tractor, they can
correct,
buy huge equipments, and
correct,
then do it jointly for their entire farmer producer company.
correct,
And
correct,
that's the goal of the country, and that's
correct,
very good, because
correct.
this is going to be the change in the future. You just
Mhm.
cannot build equipments for 2.5 acres of farmer. You cannot
Correct,
innovate maximum for them, and he cannot. The input and output ratios are not going to match if you're
correct,
basically going to think about doing it in 2.5 acres. So
correct,
we need to expand the size of the farms. That is very important.
correct, correct, correct. And sir, smart equipments are coming in. They're entering the business of agriculture, or agriculture is not, for me, it's not business, it's passion actually. So currently we see there's a lot of smart equipments coming in. There's a lot of drone technology. There's a lot of artificial intelligence coming in, the IT side of the technology is coming in. So how is that Padcorp is incorporating or taking advantage of the technology and helping farmers in this? What are your things that you guys are doing in terms of smart agriculture, smart equipment?
Yeah, it's a good question. Basically, I would like to tell you about what is basically going right now in the farming sector. The advancements in IT and farming sector is we have reached a level where we can right now basically monitor a field from a satellite. The
Mhm.
satellite imagery is basically can help a small farmer, 2.5 acres, with
Wow.
this a practical. If he has a smartphone in his hand and if he is on his field,
Mhm.
he can map the companies. There are some companies providing services where they
Mhm.
can map this 2.5 acres of his land
Mhm.
basically and tell him about the soil moisture percentage level in his farm, the
Mhm.
growth level of his crops, the
Mhm.
NPK level of the crop, and various conditions. Then they can estimate the amount of acre, the amount of yield they are going to get. That is a very
Okay.
good thing.
Mhm.
So the farmer is aware that if I have this particular crop, and if I'm going to get this at the condition, like at a flowering stage, if this they get an estimation by conditioning of the looking at the flowers of your entire field, we
Mhm.
can estimate a particular yield. He can go on investing more on the uh, plant growth regulators so that he gets a more yield. So
Correct,
that
correct.
is kind of the technology. This is being started, and it has been started being provided by, there are so many companies, and
Correct,
they are some Indian companies. They are not a
correct,
foreign company who are supplying these kind of heavy end technologies to farmers. So
correct,
we are looking at a very, very exciting and a very new stage of farming, which our country will see in the next 10 to 15 years,
oh, wow.
because because this was never actually done.
Mhm.
Satellite imaging of a
Mhm.
farm of a
Mhm.
2.5 acre farmer and
Mhm.
telling him that this is the side which is not wet, this is the side which is maximum
Mhm.
moisture is available.
Mhm.
Make sure that your land is true. This is the These kind of technologies are being given to small farmers, and
Wow.
it is going to revolutionize.
I
And
think it's going
the
to be
only
data
thing what
driven,
we
right?
require,
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's a
going to be
big.
data driven.
Yeah. They are going. The companies are basically supplying information in the way that they are basically mapping up an entire crop cycle of particular crop. If it is a tomato crop, it is a potato crop. They know the varieties. They know. They have studied the disease, the pest attack problems, the all the research has been already done in this particular field, and accordingly, right guidance to the farmer is going directly to his smartphone. So it's definitely going to help to farmers in like usually initially there was like the farmer had to what he had to do if there is a pest attack, he has to just pick up the leaf and the pest and go to run to a nearest pesticide shop owner and has to show him this is what is there in my field, what to do. And he used to give according to his wish a particular pesticide and just go and spray it to help. And in that particular, he used to give his lots of other unrequired products which he wanted to sell and earn profit out of it. Now it is not going to help. Now this is like it is the exact problem which will be identified and the exact solution will be given online through to the farmer, and he is going to save some amount of money and actually get a result. It is just like you're going to a specialist doctor for your problem and it has been treated immediately. Instead of going to a regular doctor and he gives you some extra calcium and all and all. This is not going to there.
So this is empowerment in true sense. I can say that.
Yes, it is empowerment in true sense. Technology given to a farmer in his smartphone, that's it, with a small application and a nominal fee of say, even if it's charged 5,000 rupees per year for his 2, 4, 3, 5 acres of land, it is a reasonable price. And this is how farm technology and affordable mechanization can help.
Because that is going to be more scientific and more, when we talk about data-driven farming, because he can exactly measure what's going to happen in so many days, and so much of moisture, so much of things that happen on the ground on his farm. So this is great, and sir, we are running out of time. So, sir, I'm going to ask you briefly, some questions about Padcorp's, collaboration. So you have done a lot of collaborations with governments, international organizations, and all, a lot of that. What is the greatest achievement you feel you have achieved till date? What is, in terms of collaborations, in terms of achievements, what is the greatest thing that you have achieved in your more than 25 years of work?
There are so many collaborations which we have done. We have worked with very closely with the state governments, and we have been approved suppliers to state organized, state-run or state operated organizations like MAIDC, MSSIDC, which basically takes equipments from us and gives it to subsidy to farmers. Through the government, and the government directly, these organizations pay us directly. So we don't directly sell to the farmers. That way we have been supplying to a lot of global projects. There are so many global funded projects which come to the government. The government buys on behalf of that funds from us and give it to farmers. World Bank has supported so many projects. We have also worked with with World Bank. MACP project was there. We supplied a good amount of rice mills also to them. That was also a very good success story, because at that time they had evaluated our entire process, and the machines which we supplied after that, the installations were done. The farmers where the installations were done were very happy, and when we were appreciated by the World Bank authorities, they had also appreciated us. They had given us certificates for best implementing agency at that particular time for rice mills also.
So I want to know about BISA. You have worked with Borlaug Institute of South Asia. Tell me about that. I want to know about your work with them.
Borlaug Institute of South Asia, BISA, basically, it is an organization named after Dr. Nobel laureate Dr. Norman Borlaug. He is the name synonymous with green revolution in the world. Basically, he had his research. He completed his PhD in plant protection at 27 years of age, and then his work on various varieties of wheat and rice basically were responsible for bringing green revolution in in this world, entire world. So when his his uh, his work was appreciated, he was basically honored with the Nobel Laureate Award. And after that, he started working all across the world. The BISA was also part of that his research work, and we have this institute of Borlaug Institute of Borlaug Institute BISA in Delhi. And when Delhi, this institute gave us an order of 100 mobile rice mills. That was the greatest achievement we could have ever thought about, because getting an order from BISA for 100 mobile rice mill was our greatest contribution, we can say. To it was a kind of an appreciation by an organization of such a big person, Nobel laureate. And then the rice mills were taken from us, and then they were basically given to all the Adivasi areas in Maharashtra. And we had supplied these 100 machines, successfully installed, and they are all happy. So that was a very good achievement for us.
Wow,
In that
wow,
way.
fantastic, fantastic. So I have one last question for you, sir. So Fatgilwar Corporation has 3 generations working for the betterment of farming community. What are your future aspirations for the corporation? What is that you want to see Fatgilwar Corporation to be in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? Do you see the next generation taking over also to your siblings, children, and all of that?
Yeah, yeah. My next generation is they have finished their. My son has finished engineering right now from
Okay.
Manipal, and
Wow.
he's also working. He's also studying right now. He plans to do his
Oh,
MBA,
wow.
finance, and then join my company. By that
Mhm.
time, I have hopes that I increase my dealer network all across the country. Right now, we are working somewhere around. We are serving somewhere around 1,200 dealers. My goal is to reach 5,000 dealers across the country
Okay.
and increase the products, innovation products, and supply them on day-to-day basis to farmers, say through all my dealer channels. So that is only wish, so that I can go on reducing and introducing innovative, affordable products to farmers. That is also the only goal.
Wow. 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 That's it's been amazing to speak to you, sir. But I'll not let you go before asking you. I told you last question, but this is my last question. So, what has been the motivation behind Patgilwar family, which has been continuously working for 60 years, more than 60 years that you guys have been doing this? What do you guys, discuss on the dinner table? How do you discuss things? When you're sitting together, family, when occasions come up, right? Diwali, Dashera, and all of this. How does the Patgilwar family come together, and how do you guys, feel that joy about being part of this agrarian country, and helping farmers every day? What is the motivation, and how do you guys discuss this? What happens within the family?
Yeah, we whenever we sit together, we start discussing about uh, the journey till date, and we think that we have not yet even started,
Oh,
because it's huge. It is huge.
correct.
This line is huge, and you just cannot imagine the amount of developments and changes which are going to see. Because the last 60 years, which we have seen in Indian farming, the next 10 years will cover. The next 10 to 15 years will cover and go forward in such a way that we have never seen farming, and that is going to happen in our country.
Wow.
So you will take the name of the farmer with respect, which is not being taken today, that those who don't want to do anything, those who do not do anything, are becoming farmers. This is going to change in the next 15 years. If you are a farmer, you will be getting a respectable position in the society. Next 15 years, it will see, and every farmer will be treated like that. If that
Wow.
happens, that is what we do it.
That's
That's it.
that's
That is
that's
what the goal we
fantastic,
have.
sir. That's fantastic. I mean, respect for the farmers, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, right? That's going that is already happening. A lot of awareness is there right now. Also, when we see people from very good institutions like IITs, IIMs, and all of them are also embracing farming. Not just that, but I don't say that only people going to great institutes are supposed to be getting respect, but people who are not even educated in terms of when I say educated in terms of getting a degree and all of that, but I've seen farmers really work hard, and I think people like you are adding a lot of value to their lives, to a lot of millions of lives. Because when you talk about rice mill, when you talk about Perni Yantra, it just I get goosebumps out of that because these are the things that make their lives easy. And if we can make lives, farmers' lives easy, then we can eat happily the food that they produce. So thank you so very much for coming on Coffee with Preeti, sir. I really appreciate your
Thank
time
you.
and thanks so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
all the good things that you guys are doing at Pitgill World Corporation. Thanks so very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.